Hello everyone, Fred here from the CC Network, back again with another Friday Flashback review. Do you like that I made this a monthly thing now? It's pretty damn cool. Anyway, the 2016 Royal Rumble is coming up next week, so I thought it would make sense to look back at a classic Rumble event for this show. And I've chosen arguably the best one of the lot. WWF Royal Rumble 2001. Now picture this, the WWF had just come off the most critically acclaimed year in terms of pay-per-view quality and mainstream recognition since the 80s, and the fabled WrestleMania X7 was still 2 months away. So this event had the gargantuan task of ensuring an event of such magnitude and fan interest had its build-up start with a bang. And when you look at this card with 4 title matches on the undercard and a Rumble match loaded with star power, it had the potential to be something quite incredible. Well, we're going to have to find out whether that actually turned out to be. The Royal Rumble 2001 took place at the New Orleans Arena, now the Smoothie King Center, on January the 21st, 2001, with 17,137 people selling out the place. Not to mention, this was the first pay-per-view wrestling event at this venue, having hosted an episode of Nitro in 99 and 2 SmackDown events in August and December of 2000 respectively. WWE, amazingly, if you didn't know this, didn't return here until an ECW SmackDown taping in 2007, with the pay-per-view not coming here until Extreme Rules 2009, and they've been back relatively regularly since. Maybe the South was still seen as a WCW hotspot back then that they did fear to tread, which may explain why it took them so long to come back to New Orleans in the long run. Before we get onto this show, I have to address a slight change in format. I did enjoy doing the December to Dismember pay-per-view without going into too much detail on the matches that didn't really matter. So I've decided if a match goes above 3 stars, I will go into complete detail into how the match went, what went on, and everything else. If it goes below 3 stars, I just do what I did for December to Dismember. I highlight the match result, the feud build-up, and then inevitably my thoughts. So it all goes well, doesn't it? Also, right before we get on, I don't usually talk about the Sunday Night Heat or Velocity matches on these reviews because they don't really matter, or I would dare say jacked if I was going back even further. But this one did have some implications on the show, with Lowdown, D'Lo Brown and Chaz, managed by Tiger Ali Singh, defeated Kaientai, where the winning team had to then choose which member would be given a spot in the Royal Rumble. Alas, though, it was done for nothing because Vince decided to replace them with Drew Carey, so whether that would be a good or bad thing, we would end up seeing later. Anyway, with all that waffle out of the way, let's get on with this. We kick off this quadruple threat of title matches with Edge and Christian defending the WWF Tag Team Championships against the Dudley Boys. Now, Edge and Christian won the tag titles in a fatal 4-way tag match at Armageddon 2000 the month before, but then lost them to Rock and Undertaker a week later on Raw. 4 days later, on SmackDown, they won the tag titles back from Rock and Taker after WWF champion Kurt Angle assisted in their victory over his rivals at the time. The Dudley Boys then took on the champions over the course of January, exchanging victories in singles and tag matches from there on. And the animosity came to a head when the Dudleys were assaulted backstage by the champions, receiving individual concertos against a wall. And as a result, the challengers went into this match apparently sporting concussions. Now, nowadays, this wouldn't be allowed under any circumstance, but the question did remain. Would the Dudley Boys be able to win the titles for the first time in almost a year, even with the injury? And it proved, when you look at it, the answer is yes. The tag titles were hot potato back at this time, with the Dudley Boys defeating Edge and Christian in 9 minutes and 59 seconds to win the WWF Tag Team Championships. Now, when looking at this match, it seems like a standard tag team match. It has the popular faces go over in a physical encounter with the heels dominating, going for just the right amount of time, fluctuating in pace as it reached its climax. Now, while that all sounds pretty good, this match got heightened to another level thanks to the way the Dudley's concussions were used in this match. Pretty much all of Edge and Christian's offense on Devon targeted his head only, applying leg sweeps, neck breakers, stomps and punches to make the audience fear for Devon's safety and get them further behind them. It also allowed the match to switch momentum from the brawling start that the challengers had, and while it was remaining drawn out and methodical as a result of ENC's punishment, unlike many other tag matches, it was done with a purpose. purpose, which many cannot claim to have. Edge and Christian were their own enemies, though, as their desire for cranium destruction with a missed concerto created the space for the Dudleys to fight back, with multiple near falls, countered moves, and the like, giving the crowd, who had been quite quiet in early going, a chance to come out from underneath those giant arena fans that dispersed the pyro smoke that subdued the early minutes and stopped it from really showing that they were into it. The match did its job. The Dudleys got over, and the night got off to a solid start. And while there was nothing new move-wise from these teams, it was a solid average encounter that without its psychology and near-perfect timing wouldn't really be where it is. And it's a testament to these two teams, turning an otherwise boring encounter into a quite an entertaining one. Although, I do have to question this. Devon, listen here. Your head just got whacked in continuously by moves, stomps, and punches. Why are you doing the was up, going into, I believe, Christian's junk head first? That just baffles me, and it kind of took a bit of suspension of disbelief off that you'd go do that. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, it gets a slightly above average 2 3/4 stars. It's not a bad start, really, is it? Not bad at all. Next, we have the ladder match for the WWF Intercontinental Championship, pitting the incumbent Chris Benoit up against Chris Jericho. Now, these two Canadians had been at each other's throats since the moment that Benoit and the Radicals appeared in January 2000, with both men winning the Intercontinental and European Championships from Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 2000, pinning each other for Angle's titles, of course. Benoit then racked up 3 pay-per-view victories against Jericho across the year, in a singles match against them at Backlash, a submission match at Judgment Day, and a 2 out of 3 falls at SummerSlam, respectively. Now, Jericho almost won the Intercontinental Championship on the January 4th edition of SmackDown, but won by DQ due to the Radicals interfering. And undeterred, Jericho still believed he had what it took to match up with the Canadian Crippler, and by pinning Benoit in an 8-man tag match on Raw the next week, Benoit offered Jericho any match he wanted at the Royal Rumble as a result. And Jericho, well, he decided to go for a ladder match, which would of course be an epic stage to end their storied rivalry. Now, I bet you're wondering, this match is gonna get above 3 stars, so here we go with the long description. Both men aggressively switch attacks to start, with Jericho countering a crossface, Benoit countering the walls. Benoit throws Jericho injured arm first into the post, because of course he did have that arm sandwiched between a ladder beforehand, followed by chops and a Canadian shoulder buster. Jericho fights out, goes for the springboard dropkick, but Benoit ducks as Jericho falls to the outside. Benoit goes for the ladder, Jericho comes by and gets thrown arm first into the post. Benoit counters a baseball slide, throwing Jericho arm first again into the steel steps. Benoit climbs up, Jericho then stops him and hits a lovely electric chair drop, which of course gets me happy. Jericho rams the ladder right into Benoit's head, moves him up the turnbuckle, ramming the ladder into the gut. Jericho then positions the ladder on the top turnbuckle, and Benoit counters, whipping Jericho into said ladder. He goes to the outside. Benoit, of course, you know what spot this is. He goes for the suicide dive to the outside and eats a chair right in the head. And it's, oh my god, it is still sickening to this day. Good God almighty. Jericho then props Benoit up on the barricade. He's ready to drop the ladder onto his adversary on said barricade. Benoit then rolls out of the way with Jericho going arm first into it. Wonderful. Benoit then rams the head of Jericho with the ladder and the back with the chair before throwing him like a javelin into a turnbuckle prop ladder back in. Back into the ladder, Jericho leans it back and forth as both men crash into the mat in a modified back suplex. It looks like a really tangled up mess, but it works, I guess. The crowd are cheering for Y2J as these spots are really starting to make them come alive. Benoit then dropkicks the ladder into Jericho's face as both men are selling the punishment well, understandably. Benoit then props up another ladder on the turnbuckle. Jericho reverses the whip, launching Benoit head first into the front end. Jericho then springs up the ladder off the top rope into Benoit's chin. Like, seriously, these guys are just doing whatever they can to attack, and it's working well. A missile dropkick to the ladder follows as Benoit refuses to stay down. Jericho climbs up, but Benoit stops him, and backdrops him from the ladder to the outside, causing JR and the crowd to freak out. Understandably. Benoit climbs, Jericho gets up, and locks Benoit in the walls of Jericho on top of the ladder. The crowd are losing it here, as Benoit Benoit falls off after a good 10 seconds stuck in the hold. This was, of course, the first time it was ever done, so they'd never seen something like this. They were cheering like mad. Jericho almost grabs the belt as the crowd goes nuts, but Benoit, the Canadian crippler, kicks the ladder down with his last bit of strength, with Jericho's jaw hanging on the top rope. Jericho then whacks the ladder back into Benoit and climbs again, going for a leaping move, and Benoit locks in the crossface. Jericho taps, but Benoit doesn't really care. He just wants to rip, he wants to tear, as the crowd chant Y2J some more, and really want Jericho to finally overcome it. Jericho is thrown into the post, injured arm first again. Benoit goes for the powerbomb, but is countered into a flapjack onto the ladder by Jericho. Jericho rams the ladder into Benoit on the turnbuckle, setting it up and climbs it. Jericho is then punched off as he attempted a superplex, which JR freaked out with. Benoit then took the risk of going for a swan dive headbutt. And it missed. I mean, seriously. Good God almighty, this guy, his head went through an absolute war. Jericho then put the ladder on top of Benoit. He climbed up, but is pushed over, with Jericho landing headfirst on the top rope. Benoit climbs up, but Jericho whacks him in the back with the chair. It's kicked away, but Jericho pushes the ladder over, sending Benoit directly to the outside. Benoit struggles to get back into the ring as Jericho climbs, and finally, after a grueling battle, grabs the belt to win the WWF Intercontinental Championship in 18 minutes and 44 seconds. Wow. Where do I start with this one? The aggressive, physical, and never say die psychology from both men was superb. And with Jericho having that arm worked and sold throughout the match from the start, it was just even better. Its back and forth momentum shifts and fluid movement allowed this match to retain a quick pace despite having lasted for nearly 19 minutes. The timing, I believe, was quite perfect as the match had reached its climax without becoming boring at any point. And while it took the crowd time to see where the match was going and fully get behind it, by the time this ended, they were all applauding both men for their work and pretty much marking out for everything they did. Honestly, this match was almost perfect. Almost. And it never gets old watching it back, because these guys put on an absolute match-made clinic in here. And okay, if a little more risks were taken with the move variety and the crowd were into it from the beginning, I am certain this would have been a 5-star classic. It was that close. It just misses out though, getting a 4 3/4 star rating. Go out of your way to watch this one. It's one of the best ladder matches of all time, and you will not regret a single second of it. From one war, we go to another with the Women's Championship Match. Ivory of Right to Censor, the champion, taking on the 9th wonder of the world, China, in surprisingly her first ever title match for the Women's Championship. Crazy, really. Now, Ivory had been women's champion since October, starting to feud with China in December after she had posed for Playboy, with Right to Censor seeing what China had done as a debaucherous act. For obvious reasons, I mean, it's Playboy, it's technically smut, but nonetheless, the Good Father and Steven Richards hit China with a spike piledriver, which injured China's neck, mostly in kayfabe. Over the next month, China only appeared doing sit-down interviews with Michael Cole, updating the world on her injury and her road to recovery, which Ivory, of course, mocked, because she's evil, obviously. And China then decided, after she believed she was healed enough, going against doctors and Billy Gunn's orders, in deciding to wrestle for the title at the Royal Rumble, which Ivory gladly accepted. Now, in a short match, Ivory pinned China to retain the WWF Women's Championship in 3 minutes and 32 seconds. Now, this match was nothing. Really. However, what little it actually had accomplished a lot in the psychology department, because China, well, she wanted to go all out and destroy Ivory, with Ivory running away scared, and it was perfect in allowing this match to retain a quick pace for all of its 3.5-minute runtime, and the finish, while sloppy in its execution, did its job in leading the storyline to the next emotional level, even though JR oversold it, and we know he did, because as Good Mic Work highlighted it reminded him of Owen Hart's death in the way he sold it, and it wasn't really right. Even I'm looking at it going, wow, JR, you are overdoing it. I know the neck injuries are serious, but damn, you could tone it down a little bit, you know? Seriously. Now, their WrestleMania X7 match happened 2 months later, and honestly, I put this match above it. Do you know why? Because simply, the WrestleMania X7 match was just a glorified squash. It felt unnecessary, because it didn't really feel like the story meant anything. You knew Chyna was going to do what she couldn't do at this event. And this match at the Royal Rumble 2001 may have been just the same, a just as poor glorified squash up until its conclusion. It played off the story better, it was a quicker match overall, and had an outcome that at the time no one saw coming. So I have to give it props there, and even seeing Steven Richards get manhandled was pretty funny. But then again, looking at it, the match outside of its little bit of pace and the psychology wasn't very good at all, and it gets a very lucky half a star. Now, I could have been crueler, but like I say, if a match does what it intends to do, I can't be too mad at it, can I? We finish off the 4 title matches with the WWF Championship Match, with Kurt Angle taking on Triple H, with Trish Stratus and Stephanie McMahon in their respective corners. Now, Kurt Angle somehow survived the Armageddon Hell in a Cell in December, and only just managed to retain the title in a match with Stone Cold Steve Austin in early January on Raw, thanks to Triple H stopping the referee. And Lord knows how, one, he survived the Hell in a Cell, and second, also survived being dropped from a forklift in a limo. Seriously, Triple H, are you God or something? I can see where the Slug Daddy gets it from. Anyway, despite unjustly costing Austin the title, Mr. McMahon announced that his son-in-law would be the #1 contender for the title at the Royal Rumble in order to bring the title back to the McMahon-Helmsley family, to restore some order following Linda McMahon's nervous breakdown, following the affair with Trish that started earlier, which got Stephanie McMahon feuding with Trish in the process, who had become McMahon's assistant, who subsequently became Angle's image advisor, because seriously, he needs an image. He's an Olympic gold medalist. He doesn't need an advisor on image. You have fake boobs, Trish. You don't need to do that stuff. And of course, both McMahons hated this, because Kurt Angle was of course their main rival. And Triple H highlighted that Angle had only been champion for as long as he had because the game had allowed him to be champion, which of course Angle denied, highlighting his dominance since winning the title at No Mercy back in October. Now, both of these men came in as heels, which was honestly quite weird. I mean, I know Angle technically got a face reaction because he had Trish with him, but if she wasn't there, this reaction would not be happening, and it is just strange. Also, this pay-per-view is significant, and this match is significant, being the first time that Triple H comes out to the game theme song by Motorhead. Lemmy, you recently passed away and left this earth almost a month ago. Rest in peace, man. You'll be sorely missed. Now let's go into detail with this one, shall we? We start off with both men wrenching arms, countering moves until they're backed into a corner. Triple H is then clotheslined to the outside, following an arm drag as the crowd chant "Angle sucks," even though he's supposed to be the quote-unquote good guy in this for some reason. Anyway, Angle is beaten down in the corner with some stiff punches, but is countered into a back body drop. Angle wrenches Triple H's arm and counters the back body drop, but has it then countered into a series of vertical suplexes by Angle. Triple H then has his back turned red as he sells the moves on the outside. Angle wails on Triple H, but is thrown and dropped onto the barricade before slamming that arm into the steps. Angle tries, when he gets back into the ring, to wail on his challenger, but he's then hit with a drop toe hold. The knee hits the canvas hard, and Triple H smells blood like a shark in water, and he goes through and hits a reverse Indian deathlock with Angle screaming in pain as he kicks and dragon screws the knee following. Angle sells it, limping up, countering a leg shot into an enziguri for 2. Angle limps into the corner, but is quickly overpowered with the left leg being targeted again with stomps into the ropes. Angle counters an Irish whip, sending Triple H to the outside. Triple H then gets a hold of Angle's legs for a nut shot into the post, but is then kicked away. Angle limps out and sends Triple H shoulder first into the steel steps, with Hunter finally selling that shoulder, which had been attacked along with the back for some time. Angle then gets Triple H back in the ring, goes for the running splash but misses, which allows Triple H to go to the outside, pull Angle in, and rams the injured leg into the steel post. Stephanie decides to distract the referee, with Triple H cracking a steel chair around the left knee. Stunning. Triple H continues the punishment on Angle's knee, driving a one-legged atomic drop into the steel steps, getting Angle back into the ring and hitting some running shoulder blocks to the leg, which Angle sells wonderfully. Triple H then elbows the knee off the ropes before locking in a grapevine lock on that knee again. Angle then somehow manages to fight out, laying in some punches and goes for an Irish whip, which Triple H counters into his patented facebuster for I believe the first 2 count of this entire matchup. Triple H then lays in multiple knee smashes to the canvas before warping the knee into the ropes and driving it down. And then to add more punishment, he locks in the figure 4. Angle is in agony as Triple H stretches it to the left side, putting more pressure on that already damaged knee. And you can see at this point, I'm already losing my shit because of how well done the psychology is here. Triple H then grabs the rope for leverage as Trish tries to stop it. Stephanie stops her, and cue catfight as both brawl all over the Spanish announce table. And the crowd, because it's an Attitude Era crowd, doesn't care about the intense psychology here, decide to wake up seeing these 2 women brawl, and out comes Vince McMahon. Oh dear God. He comes to separate them, but no matter what he does, Stephanie and Trish just continue to brawl. And even with Vince carrying Trish over his shoulder, they still can't stop going at each other, and the action in the ring has completely and utterly stopped. Triple H looks at his wife and father-in-law in disbelief as Angle rolls him up in a small package for 2. Another figure 4 is counted as Triple H goes into the post. Both wail on each other as Triple H rebounds off the ropes for a DDT by Angle for 2. Momentum is now in Angle's hands as he hits an atomic drop and a belly-to-back suplex pin for 2. A side Russian leg sweep by Angle as he goes for the top rope moonsault, but Triple H is low-blowing him because Hebner has his back turned, which is funny. Triple H then hits a razor's edge from the top rope for 2. Angle then kicks out of it because he's some kind of superhuman Olympian. Triple H then goes for the pedigree, but it's countered. Angle then rebounds off the turnbuckle headfirst into Triple H's groin, leaving him grounded, going for the moonsault. And would you believe it? The flipping Olympic moonsault of doom is actually hit by Angle. Holy crap, it actually happened. Too bad it only got 2. Angle then goes to the outside. Triple H dives off, Angle ducks, and Earl Hebner gets completely crushed. Ha! He is down. It's a ref bump to the nth degree as Angle is thrown into the post. Triple H then goes up top, but is hit by a beautiful top rope arm drag. Angle covers, but Hebner is still down. Angle tries to get Hebner up and gets whipped into the steps, with his knee, the damaged one mind you, going directly into Hebner's head into the steps as well. And Triple H, he goes to get the WWF Championship as King rightfully rings out to have the timekeeper not give him the bell because of that hammer attached to it, which was quite funny. Angle then aims a low blow and an overhead belly to belly. Angle lines up the shot with the title and eats a pedigree for his troubles. Triple H covers, but again, Hebner is still out here. And Triple H, he goes out to revive him, and guess who comes out? The glass shatters and Stone Cold runs out to take his adversary down. Austin nails Triple H right across the head with the belt. He gets Hebner back in the ring as Triple H is bleeding. Austin then hits a stunner to seal the deal. He leaves as Angle covers, Hebner slowly counts for the 3, and Kurt Angle retains the championship in 24 minutes and 16 seconds. They say that matches do not need big spots and flashy moves to be good, and this title match is an example of that working to perfection. While the crowd weren't the most receptive until Stephanie and Trish started going at it on each other outside the ring due to the match's slow, methodical pace, Triple H and Kurt Angle showed you how you tell a story in that ring, regardless, because the game focused on Angle's knee pretty much throughout the entire match, and it made you support Angle even though he wasn't a face going in, because even though he had survived everything, you really thought, there's no way he's going to survive the game. But he did. Austin coming in to cost Triple H was just the icing on the cake, really, along with Angle limping after the match had finished to compound the injury. Now, this match lasted ages and it dragged itself out, but at least all you saw was worth it, and for me, it didn't bore me in the slightest. If not for the move variety only being marked out for the arm drag and the razor's edge, and the crowd not appreciating the storytelling, this match would have gotten higher. It's overall an underrated match that showed how good both of these men are. They came in as equals, and it showed with the work they did here. I give this title match a 4.25 star rating. Now that's what you expect from a title match on pay-per-view. Superb. We end the night with the main event, the 2001 Royal Rumble match. Now, if you've been watching my reviews over the years, you know how my Rumble match reviews go. I usually, on the night or the night after, would read out the entrance and elimination order and sum up the rating factors thusly, like I would do with a normal review. However, for the Friday flashbacks, I've decided to go down a different route. I will be looking at the interesting happenings between each elimination or two, and inevitably going into detail. And then again, the match did get over 3 stars, so I would go into detail anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, I would advise at this time that you pause the video, go and get something to drink or eat, because describing this match may take a while. You thought me describing the WWF Championship Match for 10 solid minutes was long. Try trying to describe an entire Rumble match that went over an hour. I'm telling you, you're going to need some sustenance. So go ahead, pause the video now, get your stuff and come back, and we'll get ready to go through this entire match. Oh boy. Jeff Hardy and Right to Censor's Bull Buchanan start off as numbers 1 and 2 as both men alternate offense, with Buchanan using his strength and size to his advantage. But Jeff keeps fighting back and almost eliminates RTC's Heavy, but fails to do so. Matt Hardy is coming out at number 3 as brothers Hardy hit Buchanan with a Poetry in Motion and a double clothesline for the first elimination. Matt and Jeff then decide to fight each other because they have nothing else to do and they're brothers, it's what they do. With both men alternating moves, Matt is almost eliminated as Farouk of the APA comes in at number 4. The Hardys try to overpower Farouk, but he comes back with a double clothesline. Poetry in Motion is missed as the Hardys regain composure and hit the Twist of Fate Swanton Bomb combo to eliminate Farouk shortly after. Now, Matt tries to eliminate Jeff shortly after this. Jeff takes his shirt off as the girls scream. Matt does the same to no reaction, which is quite hilarious, fittingly. And Jeff hits a Whisper in the Wind as Drew Carey comes out at number 5. The celebrity enters. Matt hits Jeff with a leg drop, and both the Hardys miss a suplex as Jeff gourdbusters Matt out, and Jeff then falls off to eliminate, I believe, himself. Drew Carey is left in the ring on his own, which the commentators can't honestly believe, and neither can I. And then Kane comes out at number 6. Now, if you have watched this show, you will know that Kane and Drew Carey kind of bumped into each other earlier on in the evening, and Carey kind of realizes, oh dear God, this is that goof with the mask I saw earlier. He tries to shake Kane's hand. He even offers him money to leave, which It's quite funny. And Kane says no. He shakes his head, actually. He can't speak properly at this stage, and he tries to choke the now former Whose Line Is It Anyway and current Price Is Right host out of it. But the number 7 entrant, the WWF Hardcore Champion Raven, makes the save with a kendo stick. Kerry, after feeling the brunt of the Big Red Machine, scurries over the top rope to eliminate himself and leave of his own accord. And yes, it got him into the WWE Hall of Fame in the process. Honestly, while that is annoying, this wasn't too bad, I will say. Anyway, Raven exits the ring off a sidewalk slam, spraying a fire extinguisher into Kane's face. And he throws some trash cans into the ring before Al Snow comes out and wails on him. Apparently Raven took Snow out a few weeks ago, and he hadn't been seen since. He's held back from getting into the ring by the referees until the klaxon sounds, where Snow officially comes in at number 8. He hits the trash can lid shots to Kane and Raven. He then goes out of the ring, picks up another trash can, which is actually full of trash this time, and then grabs a bag containing a bowling ball, which he rolls right into Raven's crotch. Ugh, good God almighty, that is going to leave nightmares. Both Raven and Snow aim trash can shots at Kane's head, trying to get the big man down, but when that fails, they drop toe hold him into the can. Ugh. Perry Saturn at number 9. He takes Kane down, which surprisingly was some psychology, trying to isolate the leg with a leg lock, but Kane's having none of it. Yay! Raven tries to choke Kane out, but fails as Saturn is scoop slammed. Snow and Raven again try to choke Kane out as trash can shots to the head help get the Big Red Machine finally down to his knees once again. Steve Blackman is out at number 10. He gets his sticks out and nails whatever the hell is moving. This match is descending into absolute anarchy, and it is surprisingly entertaining. Grandmaster Sexay is number 11. He whacks a trash can lid onto whatever moves too, tries to eliminate Snow, but Saturn makes the save. Good God, Sexay then grabs the nunchucks, attacking Blackman with his own weapon. Lovely. Kane then nails Sexay in the head with a trash can, eliminating him. He then throws Blackman over. He then hangs on, but eats a trash can lid for the elimination, which was beautifully sold. Snow and Raven follow next, with Saturn falling out as the freaking Honky Tonk Man makes his entrance. What? At number 12, the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time, who doesn't get a very big reaction. He thanks the audience and starts singing his song, which, of course, I absolutely despise. Kane just decides he's had enough of it and whacks the Honky Tonk Man right over the head with his guitar, shaking his head in disapproval. The Honky Tonk Man is then eliminated, right as the number 13 entrant comes out, and it's the Brahma Bull, The Rock. The crowd are losing it as the Brahma Bull lays the smack down on Kane, almost eliminating him. But Kane, he fights back. He's not going to go down that easy. The guy's been in there since number 6. He is not backing down. Right to Censor's good father is number 14, but gets eliminated straight away by his former Nation of Domination stablemate. And lo and behold, this has happened, I believe, for every single Rumble appearance that he's ever made, including one he made a few years ago. Anyway, Kane then lays out Rock again, with the crowd rallying behind the People's Champion, who fights right back but eats a sidewalk slam. Taz is number 15 and lasts really not that long, as he gets eliminated straight about. And they quickly forgot about it because Rock almost got eliminated too, so the crowd were kind of booing it, and then The Rock was going, so, oh no, we must ignore Taz and go straight onto it here. The APA's Bradshaw is number 16, as both men stay in off eliminations, and he wails on Kane. The Rock lends a hand as both men agree to take the Giant out, but Rock then eats a clothesline from hell for his assistance, because reasons. Albert is number 17 as he tries to eliminate Bradshaw, but Kane tries to eliminate The Rock at the same time, and both men stay in. Hardcore Holly is number 18, but fails to make an impact. Albert then hits a lovely Baldo bomb on Bradshaw as they try to eliminate The Rock and Kane again, but once again they stay in. Albert knocks Kane away and hits him with an absolutely beautiful bicycle kick. That's the reason I love that move. It's wonderful when hit right. Rock then throws Kane over the top rope, but again he stays in. And the ring is starting to fill up with names at this point, with not much really happening, with K-Quick, the man now known as R-Truth, coming in at number 19. Val Venus is of right to censor and comes in at number 20. The WWF European Champion William Regal is number 21. Test then comes out at number 22, eliminating Regal from entry, and Regal had already wailed on a few people at this point, showing his strength, so to see Test eliminate him, kind of anticlimactic. And apart from Regal's elimination, all of the match at this point seems very, very monotonous. Right up until the klaxon sounds and number 23, a returning Big Show, comes out. And he hadn't been seen since September. Apparently, according to the sources I have heard, trying to lose weight. And that shirt? Ugh, you didn't look like you lost weight at all, sir. He eliminates Test and K quick, chokeslamming everyone else, including Kane of all people, to a massive pop. Rock then hits him with a low blow and punches Show right out of the ring to an even bigger pop. And knowing what happened at the last year's Rumble between these two, where they were rivaling over who eliminated who to win the thing, Big Show was not too happy about this, as he destroyed the announce table right as Crash Holly came in at number 24. Show then chokeslams Rock through the table on the outside and leaves. They should make that into a t-shirt. Arrive, destroy table, leave. It should quite sell well, I would think. Anyway, the rest of the wrestlers decide to take Kane out. They're ready to get the job done. You almost think they've got it. And then that klaxon sounds once again, because Big Brother Undertaker is out at number 25 to a massive pop. The Brothers of Destruction eliminate everybody. And I mean everybody. I mean, Rock is still on the outside, of course. He's not been eliminated at this point. But seriously, they eliminate everything that is moving inside the squared circle. And they are left in the ring together, as Scotty 2 Hotty enters at number 26, obviously shitting himself at the prospect of facing these giants down. But you know what? I'll give him credit. He gets into the ring, gets completely destroyed, and then eliminated with ease. Now, Rock is coming too. He struggles to get to his feet, gets back into the ring right as the glass shatters, and Stone Cold Steve Austin comes in at number 27 to another massive pop. And it's massive, even though on the network version, the disturbed version of the theme song is dubbed over, and the reaction is piped in, which is not fun. Anyway, Triple H attacks him before he can enter the ring, brawling in the aisleway and the technical area. The Brothers of Destruction then take their turn in beating The Rock down, with Billy Gunn entering in at number 28, rescuing The Rock from Kane and Taker. Referees then take Triple H away, as Austin has done a manly blade job, to the point where the blood has gone all over the back of his head. It is that sublime. The Rock somehow has the energy to fight back and eats a DDT from Taker, which JR sells sublimely. The klaxon sounds, and at number 29 comes in Haku. Dear God, I have not seen him for so long. He goes for Taker, but is overwhelmed when Kane comes to help. But JR and King, they're arguing on the ethics of Austin's attack by Triple H. Right as the man who ran Austin down, Rikishi, comes in at number 30 to no reaction at all. Austin attacks him in the aisleway, and he finally enters the ring, bloody and all. Austin then goes nuts, attacking and eliminating Haku. Rikishi is then chokeslammed by Taker, and Taker almost is eliminated by The Rock. He then headbutts Rikishi, stunning himself, enough time for Rikishi to eliminate him with a stiff kick over the top rope. Rikishi then goes for the banzai drop, but is low-blowed by The Rock, who then eliminates his Samoan brethren. And we are down to 4, with Gunn hitting a famouser on Austin, but it really doesn't matter because Austin no-sells it and eliminates him. Wonderful. There are now 3 left, as Rock and Austin lock eyes and fight as the crowd pop big. Kane gets back up and tries to eliminate Austin, but eats a Fez press. Austin eats a rock bottom, as all 3 men are down again. Kane and Rock then fight, with Kane going through the second rope, not eliminated. Rock and Austin continue to spar with big punches. Austin almost gets the Rock over, and vice versa, as Kane puts Rock out, as Austin hangs on to the apron. We are down to Austin and Kane, and with that elimination, Kane broke the record at the time for most eliminations in a Rumble match. Pretty damn cool, breaking Diesel's record, if I'm not mistaken, of 10 back in 1994. 94? Was it? Or 95? I can't remember which one. Nonetheless, everybody, Austin goes for the clothesline elimination straight after, but eats a chokeslam. He signals the end, does Kane, but Austin hits the low blow to buy himself some time. Kane goes under the bottom rope, gets a chair from the timekeeper's area, and goes for a whack, and then, because Austin's dirty as hell, he hits a low blow. Austin, where is he getting this energy from? Kane counters Austin for a tombstone, which is countered into a stunner. Lovely. Austin then crawls to the chair and whacks it liberally over Kane's head 3 times and clotheslines the Big Red Machine over the top rope for Austin to win the 2001 Royal Rumble match. Stone Cold, number 27, last eliminated Kane, number 6, to win his record-breaking 3rd Rumble match in 1 hour, 1 minute, and 55 seconds. He toasts the crowd with some beers as the pay-per-view goes off the air. Wow, ain't that a doozy, everybody? This match is regarded as the best Rumble match for a reason, and it's not hard to see why. The match flowed incredibly well despite one small patch between Bradshaw and Test coming in, leaving nothing really happening, just filling up with wrestlers. It lasted over 1 hour and had a few surprises that really got the crowd going, along with the amount of fan favourites appearing to really give time to retain interest, because a lot of them came in early, mind you. The hardcore elements were a refreshing addition that made it stand out and gave a slower section some much needed fun. Hell, I even pointed this out, even Drew Carey did okay in there. The eliminations could have been a little faster, and there could have been some more surprises, but it still told a great story, with Kane, Rock, and Austin lasting way longer than honestly they rightfully should have. Now, for me, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Rumble that all Rumble matches have to be matched up to. Minus that one 14-minute section of nothing, this match kept you on your toes and proved to be exciting all the way through to the finish. It's a match that I couldn't recommend enough. It has its flaws, yes, but they were dwarfed by the sheer entertainment factor. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2001 Royal Rumble match is a 4.5-star match. What a way to end this show off. Fantastic. Now, on to my final thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, going into this show, I remembered it being good, but not this good. The quality of this show shines through beautifully, with 3 of the 5 matches getting over 4 stars. That is a fantastic return. They all told great stories, were paced pretty much to perfection, and entertained throughout. Even the tag team title match managed to get over the average mark in star ratings for similar reasons, which I didn't think was actually possible, and only the women's title match really drags this event down, which is quite sad, because if this match got over 1.5 stars possibly, we would be looking at arguably one of the best shows of all time. No doubt about it. Now, the matches, they all deliver, even with that one short dud poking through. The commentary is great, the crowd were into pretty much everything, and didn't slow down for most of the evening. There's very little wrong with this show, and honestly, you'd be mistaken to pass it up. This event is unmissable. Go to the network, or dig out your VHS or DVD and watch this now. It'll be well worth the time. The WWF Royal Rumble 2001 gets a sublime, a fantastical 8.75 out of 10. And honestly, if the Divas match had gotten the rating that it needed to, this would have been a 9 out of 10 show. Even if it just gotten above 1 star, it would have achieved it. If the ladder match had just had a little bit more and become a 5-star, we would have had a 9 out of 10 show for sure. That is how close that this event got to being in the very select few of pay-per-views that are so good, I rate them that high. But alas, it didn't. But regardless of that fact, this Rumble pay-per-view is one of royalty for sure. And after watching the abomination that was December to Dismember 2006 last month, I really needed to watch a show of quality to wash the stink of that out of my ears, eyes, and mouth. And I couldn't have picked a better show to do it. Absolutely brilliant. Here we go, guys. The Royal Rumble 2001 Flashback is done. And I am so happy to have watched this show again for the first time in quite a few years. It was wonderful to watch through. What are your opinions on this show? Do you agree with me? To be honest, if you disagree with me, you're going to be in a very small minority. The comment section is down there. You will be well and ready to prove me why this pay-per-view sucked. Come on, someone do it. I'd love to see you try. And of course, if you liked this video, you want to see the next Friday Flashback video coming out next month, along with the Royal Rumble 2016 review, that subscribe button is down there, and I would appreciate it if you pressed it. And also, if you want to keep up on whenever a video is posted, the Twitter and Facebook and Tumblr accounts are all down there in the description box, along with the CC Network blog, where my Royal Rumble 2016 predictions will be placed. Ladies and gentlemen, the Royal Rumble is only a week away, and I hope this has gotten you excited for the anarchy that is likely to go down next Sunday. I have been Freddie Thomas. You have been people listening, and it's been a long time in doing so. This has been a Friday Flashback review for the CC Network, and I will see you all next time. Cheers!